Hello, I'm going to give you a tour of my new sewing, weaving, knitting, and computer room before it gets all messed up. I'm going to start here in the corner. I've got some storage down here, zippers. I got everything labeled. And here's some other neat little storage. Now I get over to my sewing area. You'll recognize some of these things. Now my sewing machine, this is actually a computer table. And my husband built me this, so when I actually sew, I set the machine there. Now I've also can pull it out a little further, and I've got all these little boxes that I had saved. These are iPhone 4 boxes from when I was working, and one of the managers gave them to me. Got all my little stuff. And this section here is just more sewing materials. I have a bulletin board again. I didn't have a bulletin board in my other house because I had sloped ceilings. I'm so happy to get a bulletin board so I can put my instructions. Now here's my serger. And for my serger, I just pull out this. And I can also, on this side, pull out so I have more sewing room. And then when I'm not sewing, I don't need it, it goes out of the way. Got lots of nice storage. This is a drum carder. I won't go into, if you ever want to know how it's used, I'll go into that later, but as a sewer, you may not be too interested. And this is my spinning wheel, which is a very relaxing thing to do. Now I come around behind the door, and I have this huge map I've put together, laminated. This is the Warren and Spartanburg County areas that I ride in the most, and I can take a wipe-off pen and actually map my rides. Now I'll show you my wonderful closet. I'll back up so you can see what we've got here. Two lovely, nice big doors. And I'll show you what's behind it. Now the closet's a work in progress. I'm still working on it. Behind this door, I've used command hooks. This in the top, these are my PDF patterns. They're all in there. They're paper clipped together and they're flat. I don't have time to go and retrace them. I'll do that eventually when I use them again. But right now they're fine there. Also, I use the command hook to store this cutting board. On the other side, you'll recognize more sewing stuff, great command hooks. Now let me back up so you can see my closet, which is a work in progress. I'm using labels from the Dollar Tree that are like a chalkboard, and you can use the little chalk pens you get from Michael's or Joann's or any craft store, and you write on what's in your bin, and you can take water and a sponge and just wipe it off, and if you change your mind. All of the bins on the left and the ones in the middle are yarn. And they're all stored according to weight. As knitters, we work with different weights of yarn. That determines our project. We just don't grab a ball of yarn and say, I'm going to knit a sweater. You've got to have the right weight for that particular pattern. Now right in the middle, that's my works in progress bin. That's where I'm keeping things that I start and haven't finished. Sometimes they're going to time out. Sometimes they're marinating. Sometimes I probably need to throw away. The little magazine thing on top, that's something I've got to take somewhere that I don't want to throw away up in North Carolina. Now, on the left, on the right, this is my stash. Now, I don't have a huge fabric stash because at one time, I had 27 bins, like the underbed bins, in an attic in Kentucky of stash. And I culled that down to 8 when I moved to Florida. And when I moved up here, I got rid of it. So I'm starting over. And I'm doing pretty good because I haven't been sewing but a few years now. The big blue one's fiber, which is the stuff I use for spinning. But the others are fabric. And I've got them labeled as to what's in it. Got it pretty easy to see what's in it, but I also have cataloged this, so I'll show you that in a minute. So we'll close these doors. Like every good sewing, knitting, crafting person, I got lots of books, and I have donated lots of books. The yarn cones are some I use for weaving. There's some I use for dyeing and knitting. I've got my little pressing area up here, and I can also use this as a cutting area with the cutting boards. Now here's a cube I already had, and I went to Dollar Tree and bought these bins. And there again, I got the chalk markers again, so I know what's in them. I also have in these bins, these are knitting needles. It's fabric. Very easy to see. Now these are my cottons, and I don't have a lot of cotton because I'm back new to sewing. And I'm not really into quilting, but I do like to make bags, and I do like good cotton fabric. And these are some poly cottons I got from my mom. Now I have measured each of these, and I have cataloged them, which I'm going to show you. And I've got all these labeled. Cigar boxes, I have some little looms in there and different things. Over on this side, cigar boxes are all empty because I just like cigar boxes, and I pick them up at Total Wine for $2. This big bin is stuff I want to make fidget mats out of. More knitting needles, miscellaneous. Then I come around to more of a business area, which I don't have a business anymore. This is an old printer that I don't buy ink for any longer because the ink costs more than the printer. But it's a great scanner. So as long as it's working, I'm going to use it. Now I'll get over to my computer workstation. I have a very old iMac, which is running like a charm, fingers crossed. And that's how I do your newsletter. Now this is my way I catalog my fabric, and I also have one for yarn, but it's done through a website. This is Google Docs, Google Sheets, and it's done on my Google Drive. And the reason I use Google Drive, because then I can pull it up on my phone, I can pull it up on my iPad, I can be out anywhere and I can see what fabric I've got. And what I've done, I've taken a photo of the fabric. You can see on that one. Some of them I just put a color. And then I've got the type, the amount, the width, color, location, purchased if I know, purchased for if I know, and any other notes. I can sort this by fabric color. I can sort this by the amount of fabric I have. And that's when I started doing this in Kentucky, and I had those 27 underbed storage bins. If I needed a half a yard of pink polka dot, I had a system like this. I could go in there and find it. I didn't have to dig through anything. I had a bigger house and I had a lot of storage, but I don't have that now. Now over here, and you see my lighting in this room is not the best. This is my TV where I watch YouTube videos on with my Roku. I also watch Craftsy. And I'm getting ready to put a bigger TV in here and put that one somewhere else. This is my printer. It's just a basic black and white inkjet workhorse printer. It was not an expensive printer. The toner is very expensive. It prints fast. It can double side print. And that's really, I think, we waste a lot of money on toner. So basically, this is it. It's as neat as it's ever going to be. And thank you for joining me, and I'll see you soon.